From the cradle to the grave, life is tough. From the beginning to the end, the road is rough. But there's something you should always keep in mind. Take comfort in what comfort you can find. Oh, a life without passion I couldn't bear. Glasgow Celtic's my passion, I declare. And for this I make no apology, for it's always been Celtic with me. With some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me. Others people now say that I'm insane, just because I've never missed a game. Be it wind or rain or hail or sleet or ice, I've yet to miss a game at Paradise. And all the money that I've spent going abroad, all the money that I never could afford, well, I spent it all in bright good company, for it's always been Celtic with me. Now with some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me. Right from the very start, you got into my heart to see. Was it for better or worse? Was it a blessing or a curse? It's all the same to me. And when I shuffle up this mortal coil, and my body it is planted in the soil, well, don't you play a dirge over me. Give me a Celtic song, a Celtic symphony. And I'll look down each Saturday from above, from heaven on the paradise I love. And with St. Patrick I will sing a verse or three, for there'll still be Glasgow Celtic with me. With some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me. With some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me. Some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me.
Welcome back to the HomeBhoys live phone-in show here on Spreaker.com on Hill Hill Media. We're back like Schwarzenegger. We are, of course, Joe McKenna here in the beautiful Caribbean sunshine of North County Dublin. I'm joined, of course, by the Copper Top Prince, David Harbour.
All right.
Joined, of course, by the King of Spain, Jason Higgins.
King of Spain.
Voila. And Paul Larkin, the man with more books than a Roman library. All the way from Edinburgh. Paul, you there?
Hello.
We've had some technical issues. Well, actually, sorry, I have had some technical issues. Wasn't getting any sound on my microphone, so we started the show. So we had to defer over to Harper. So if the sound's a bit shitty tonight, it's his fault.
Fuck you. Sounds perfect.
Well, at least there is that. I'm just trying to get in there now before he starts tearing me apart a little bit. So we're back. There's plenty for us to talk about. This is our first show of the new season. How long have we been off for now? About 2 months?
Fucking 10 days.
But there's been loads of content for everybody to listen to, especially the Lost Boys Celtic History podcast, which has been keeping everybody, very up to date history.
we're all in the 60s.
You know what I mean? Current affairs and all that stuff. Anyway, so to move on. We're going to talk about
quickly move on.
It wouldn't be this show if it ran smooth. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about Cliftonville, which is the game that Harper went to last week. You might have noticed it on the TV. We're going to talk about the Brentford massacre that happened at the weekend. We're going to talk about players lost, players gained, and players who maybe might be getting lost in the next couple of days or so. So, first off, anybody got anything they want to talk about in particular? Harper, we just talk about the Cliftonville game.
First off, just if anybody wants to call in.
That's not forgot about that part too.
Can add... Sorry, on you go.
You can add HomeBhoys on Skype and just we'll add you in. You can call us up, anything you want to say. Don't worry about if it's relevant to what we're talking about. But obviously it needs to be relevant to Celtic because we're not start talking about shoes or something, you know what I mean? But call in, we'll add you in, and we'll just try to bring you into the conversation, and then eventually we'll, if we don't forget, we'll bring you into the conversation and we'll get chatting.
And we're going to be far more hands-on with our media this year as well. I'm taking Twitter and Jason's took the chat room, I think. That's how hands-on we are. Hands off, hands free.
People have missed this well-oiled machine that we've got running here. So people are just going like, what did I do without these lads? So what was I saying? You can also email us at homeboys@gmail.com. If you want anything, any sort of shout-outs or anything you want to promote, we're up for anything. As usual, you can call in, we're not going to cut you off. Say what you want, talk about what you want. As long as it's relevant to Celtic and you're not completely bored. So it'll be a bit of crack. So first things first, Harper, we had a great Wednesday night last week. We road trip, Swift HomeBhoys road trip to Belfast for the Celtic and Cliftonville match. What was your first taste of solitude like? I know you're a bit of a Cliftonville phobia.
Nah, I've no real interest in Cliftonville, no love for them. First of all, I would say just thanks to Marty.
Oh, Chuck.
For sorting us out with the tickets. Marty and Richie for the temporary stand podcast. Sorted us out with the tickets, and Richie actually travelled up to the game with us and he supplied me with a few cans of beer as well. So I know they two boys were sorted us out. No, it was brilliant, man, wasn't it? No, it was just bouncing, rocking. The only disappointment was we never got there till like 10 to 7. So
and that was me doing like some top speed.
I mean, we kind of missed. Well, obviously we did miss the majority. We missed the majority of the day, and everybody was well oiled when we got there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They boys for Alloa, Sting and Morris. I doubt Morris will even remember seeing you. Like, you know. But no, it was brilliant, man. I just wish we'd got up there earlier. And the park was just absolutely rocking. We had to actually stand on our seats just to be able to see the game. The place was rocking, apart from the two boys in front of us that were sound asleep a minute to kick off.
I was two lads asleep for the entire first half. I think was it a banger or one of the bombs went off?
One of the bombs.
It was like they hadn't missed a stray. They woke up, started clapping their hands. No, absolutely no comprehension of the fact they just went to sleep for about 40 minutes. It was brilliant. But but the sun was out. Those temporary stands were great cracks. I mean, that's basically what the majority of the Celtic fans were. And it was just, I mean, when the teams came about and lined up like, direct in front of you, I mean, like no further than 6 feet away from you, the stewards were trying to keep everybody back, hanging over the edge of the barriers to take photographs. But there was just no way you were going to be able to keep order in those temporary stands. It was just bedlam. No,
it was perfect. Just for the people in the chat room, I'm just noticing Jason's actually posting in the chat room as Strike 3 Media. So that's Jason, just in case you're wondering. He's no logged in as HomeBhoys or Hail Media or anything. So Strike 3 Media, that's Jason in there. Somebody's saying on Twitter, Joe, you're coming across very tinny, but there's nothing we can do about that. That's just the Skype and whatever.
That's probably just your laptop.
No, it's your Skype.
Not my Skype. My Skype.
It's whatever your end does anyway.
I can blame for everything in this fucking show.
Right.
Anyway,
just, I don't know, to summarise the game, I thought they played really well. I never watched even 10 seconds pre-season. Absolutely, I had zero interest in watching any of those bounce games in Germany because you're only opening yourself up to frustration and getting caught up in things that mean nothing. They show you nothing, they prove you nothing. So I never watched that. A second, I'm glad I never gone by some of the stuff I read. And to see them play, I thought they played very well. Of course, they're only playing against part-timers and stuff like that. But I thought they looked quite sharp. They looked as if they were well down the road of pre-season, if you know what I mean. So the games in Germany, fitness-wise, have obviously done them a good turn. and I thought we looked decent against. Listen, man, I heard people saying all this before. Cliftonville, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be that. And as I said to you driving up the car, Cork City, who are a mid-table League of Ireland team here, hammered them 6-2 in the Satanta Cup. And Cork were in their pre-season, and Cliftonville halfway through the season. There's a big gap between teams in the north and the teams in the south, and there was never going to be a problem for Celtic to roll over the top of them.
And there's part of me as well thinks a lot of Celtic fans didn't want to say anything too disrespectful to Cliftonville.
And I'm not being disrespectful. There is just a gap.
Going like, oh, you never know, Cliftonville could do this, because at one half you're kind of going like, Cliftonville they're a decent side. They're probably the best side they are in their league. You know what I mean? The best players. But I mean, you know, you still one of those clubs you always want to be better than they actually are. And they're never going to be like, you know, a Celtic. I mean, there'll always be a Cliftonville, and that's it.
It's actually quite. I mean, see, like so the Satanta Cup here, which if anybody doesn't know, it's a cross-border competition. The teams in the north and teams in the south, and every year they keep changing the rules to try and make it more competitive, because the teams in the south here just run over the top. Teams in the north, even to the stage where they played it pre-season this year. And I mean, I was at the Drogheda Portadown game, and the golfing class was quite remarkable. Like, so for a team up there to try and take on Celtic, there was never going to be any. The only thing they're hoping for is catching Celtic because it's so early in the season. The plastic surface, they would probably hope, but once we got that first goal, we were cruising, man. Really well.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good result and a good performance without being like, you know, overly brilliant. Like, because I mean, they didn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think obviously the fitness showed straight away. Like the last 20 minutes, Cliftonville were struggling. I mean, the man was it Ronan Scannell at the back. I mean, Forrest thought he had his number a couple of times. But fair play to the guy. I mean, he stood up for Forrest. And Forrest is a young lad, and Scannell's not. He's in his 30s, I think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's a part-time player.
The main thing is for Cliftonville, they had the honour of playing the game at home in front of their own fans in their own stadium. They got the temporary stand up to make an extra few bob. They got the ties switched to play home in the first leg, which obviously then brought TV cameras, because as we see, there's no TV cameras for the second leg, probably because the tie's done, like, no? So they were clever enough to move it to Belfast for the first leg. So they got their pay out of it, which I'm glad. As I said before, I have no real interest in Cliftonville, but there was a good camaraderie, obviously, before the game. We've seen it. As soon as you went into Cliftonville Road, it was just Celtic, Cliftonville fans everywhere mixing. There's never going to be any problem there. But so no, it made for a kind of carnival atmosphere. Like, I mean, the heat was incredible. Do you know what I mean? But it did honestly feel like you were going to like a Scottish Cup final or something. It was one of those kind of days because it was so hot and everybody was just milling about in the streets and all that and drinking outside the pubs. It had a real carnival atmosphere. And as I say, I just wish we could have got up there earlier. It would have been brilliant. But for what it was, I really enjoyed it. Like.
Sure, what happened was we only found out we got tickets late, and I was working and you were working, so it had to be a swift trip. But it was brilliant. I mean, like the crack was great. The fans were great. It was fantastic. I mean, from what I heard, my brother, he went out on an all-night one. He only arrived back in the house at like 2 o'clock the next day. Because I think Charlie and the boys were playing over in the Devonish, and I think Gary O was playing in the Felons as well. So I think the party went on late into the night.
Is there anybody else on this podcast?
Aye.
Is it just me and you?
I'm just waiting to get introduced.
I did introduce you already. What did you think of the game? Watching it there on the old TV?
On you go, Paul.
Pretty much what happened. Said, you can tell after about 15 minutes that Cliftonville weren't up too much. No real threat whatsoever. Even though a couple of defenders are finding their feet and stuff like that. I thought certain players was just showing their class. I think, guys like Samaras and that were detailed just to get the ball and run at them. And I don't think Cliftonville would be used to that. If you look at the goals, especially Samaras' goal, I don't think Cliftonville would be used to a guy, getting blocked in one turn and then just switching it to his left and bringing it. Yeah. As Harper said, that kind of level that they're playing, that's not going to happen. So I enjoyed it. It was good to see the boys back. It was good occasion in that, but I think as Harper said, I mean, the golfing class was enormous, and on another day it could have been about 7 or 8, to be honest. Yeah.
Commons had a couple of shots come off the woodwork. I thought Commons was really due a goal in that game. He actually played really well.
I was the same with Stokes. He had one come off the bar in the second half.
That's right, aye.
And I'd bet Celtic -2 goals, so I was panicking near the end, but they came through for me. But no, it was quite a professional performance, and I actually watched all the pre-season friendlies. I was there with a villa in Spain, and with one of my mates, the Celtic TV login. So we watched all the games earlier, and they were terrible, but as you just say, it's a training session. I'm not getting too hung up with anything. It was good to see some of the young kids getting a run out, and the main thing for me is not picking up any injuries and getting the team fit. But I'm still, at the end of the day, the Cliftonville game, it's no barometer for anything, because the golfing class is massive. So I reckon they would have struggled against most teams in the Scottish Premier League. In fact, probably all teams. So I'm not reading too much into it, but at the end of the day, you can only beat what's in front of you in the park, and they done well. And obviously, been on a plastic park and stuff like that. Big Sammy, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So happy days. That's the first I'll see them tomorrow night. Well, live, because I didn't get into Brentford. Thank God, because I'm still here. Obviously, with all the evil stuff that was going on down in Brentford. According to the EDL. A right nice source of information there.
I was just going to say, who else can you trust?
That's it. So, do you want to start talking about Brentford? Because I've got a couple of things to say. I got a couple of messages on Twitter today.
Well, I'll tell you what, I seen the video about Brentford yesterday. It was floating around Facebook, right? Or it was somewhere, I think it was on Facebook. And it was a video of Sky Sports report. Right? Did anybody see that?
No.
It was obviously edited together to make it look like it was an actual issue. Right? It showed just some flares in the park, which in fairness isn't a particularly good thing to do, right? But it's a friendly. Nobody really cares. But the fans are invading the pitch. It's a small wee ground. They didn't see anybody throwing punches. They didn't see anybody, getting invaded. It looked like a party atmosphere. I can't know in Celtic fans, you know that there's not going to be that level of trouble. But I mean, Sky Sports made it look as if actually the way they worded it was Celtic fans watched their team win in a pre-season friendly today, but all the focus was on their fans' behaviour. Right, and when you word something like that, there immediately you're sort of saying, okay, this wasn't on. This needs to be looked at. But all the photographs I've seen are of Caps and Celtic fans having a laugh, and people from Brentford are on Twitter saying Celtic fans were great. And then there was this rumour going around about they were singing a song about, is it Lee Rigby, the guy that got his head cut off the street? I mean, that's just
rumour started by the EDL.
Is that what it is?
I wonder what their motivational factor for that would be. But I got a couple of messages on Twitter today for people that were there. And first of all, they says, credit where it's due, it says the police down there were fantastic. It says they really policed the game, and says they were absolutely excellent. Very, very friendly, non-confrontational, and seemingly there was a few members of Focus down there. I don't know if this is 100% true, but seemingly when the Celtic fans invaded the park, one policeman produced his baton, and it was somebody for Focus. And I think the local London bobbies went like, what are you doing? And seemingly that's what I've been hearing. And also, a guy sends a message as well. It says about the smoke bombs and the pyro stuff. It says, it's fine if you want to do it, but at the end of the day, it comes at a consequence. And see if Celtic keep insisting with this, like some of the fan groups keep insisting with this, be prepared potentially for away games and potentially home games as well, for every supporter to be getting searched on the way into the ground.
That's
at the end of the day, it is. I think it's illegal to let them off in a football stadium. So at the end of the day, there might come repercussions of police getting a bit over vigorous and things like that and trying to search, but that's an occupational hazard if you want to look smoke bombs off. There you go.
See, just coming back to the pitch invasion, was it all supposed to be a mass huddle? That was the whole thing behind it. And because loads of the pictures I've seen, it's like dads walking off with their son's hand, 10-year-old kid with his dad and all stuff like that. I mean, you seen Brentford fans laughing and everything. It's so petty and unbelievable and childish to try and the stuff that they're trying to pull at the minute, because they're hurting so bad and they're so bitter and twisted. It's bizarre that they think that everybody's just going to believe this. But then, of course, you do get all these numpties that do believe it, and tell you, even some in their own support, which is quite unbelievable, to be honest.
Okay, well, same with the dense park crap. But one thing that's come through is, see, people are involved in Brentford. They seen that guy who was in the pub before the game. All the pubs were all mixed. It was all Brentford fans. And I don't know, was the crowd something like just short 80,000? I think Celtic had 6,000 odd supporters there. So they said they had never seen anything like it, and it was one of the most amazing football experiences they'd been involved in. You know, and it just. I think the Celtic supporters were excellent, you know, and alright, they've been on the drink all day, the sun's out, let's go in the park and do a huddle. Sounds a good idea.
I mean, I see
and
photographs.
then they get up, no, come in and enjoy yourself.
I seen a photograph today of a cop and 2 Celtic fans on the pitch, like smiling for a photograph, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, it was only one arrest. I mean, it says 6,000 fans was one arrest.
Aye.
And even Harper says with all this pettiness, you know, the clowns are all telling people, oh, they've wrecked the pitch, that's it, ruined for the season, and that kind of thing. And the Brentford CEO actually had to be answering people on Twitter saying, I spoke to the grounds when the pitch is absolutely fine. What are you complaining about, like, you know? I mean, Christ almighty, that'll have been one of the biggest paydays you've had in a long time for a football match, you know what I mean? I mean, you could have brought anybody there and they wouldn't have had any crowd like that, Man United, anybody. So, when I listened to the game on Radio London, and quite the phrase the boy used more than anything is, he says, I need to keep reminding myself this is only a pre-season friendly. Because the atmosphere was just incredible, you know, it was electric, and you know that's a Celtic reserve team down there, and I'm sure Brentford will be trying to welcome us back as soon as possible, given all the money they'll have made, you know.
Would I be right in saying we played them just a couple of years ago? Who was that we played pre-season? Joe.
QPR a few times.
No, it wasn't QPR. Joe, remember that podcast that we done that never got released? We were at that meeting in Dublin that day, and
yes.
We got jarred. And Celtic played a friendly that day, and Murphy scored his first goal. Was that not good?
No, that was against Ipswich, I think.
No, it wasn't Ipswich. There was some Cheltenham or something. Maybe was it Peterborough? I can't remember. I think it was maybe Brentford.
I think you might have Peterborough.
Maybe Peterborough. I was thinking it was maybe Brentford, but no, it was just because I was just thinking. Like, I didn't know what the connection is there with Brentford while we were playing them. But
didn't Nam again go on loan to Brentford?
Who?
Now McGinn, when he's playing for Celtic, was on loan at Brentford.
Was that part of the deal, like, to go and play?
I think. I was just saying that maybe has some sort of connection.
No, but I know. I don't know. I'm just saying. As Paul says, like, do they not want us back? Do they not want the money? We'll go somewhere else then, because plenty of other teams will take us.
Aye, absolutely. No.
Okay, but then did you see the photo of the policeman as well, with his Celtic tattoo?
Aye.
There's the one with the Met Police. He's got the London Bobby hat on, and he's pulled the arm up. He's got a big Celtic crest tattooed in his arm.
Oh, brilliant!
I know. I think they've got the right ideas about down there. And I think at Cliftonville as well. You guys correct me. I don't think there was any police in the stadium at all.
No, not that I seen. There was some cops outside on the road, but I mean, like they were just kind of just in case there was some sort of trouble from maybe the other side.
They were getting Green Brigade stickers stuck over their vans.
That was pretty funny. It was the cop with the Jeep was covered in Green Brigade stickers.
I know the armoured Jeep.
You want to see the state of some of these Jeeps though? After me and Harper were looking at them, some of them were just tarred and burnt and just beaten to shit from the trouble that happened the week before.
Right.
And then when we were driving out of Belfast, when we were driving down past Carlisle Circus off the Antrim Road, there was a crowd of loyalists standing there with flags. And I say crowd, probably about 15 or 20 of them. I mean, it was a gathering. It was a gathering of them.
That was them just getting ready for the night's protests, and then you seen all the PSNI lined up across the road. It was just like they were waiting for kick-off time. Wasn't it?
It was weird.
That was weird. No. Couldn't be bought that. Like. Muppets.
But I mean, there was no cops inside. It was great crack.
I never seen any cops inside. Just some stewards who, but they were fine. Like they were pretty cool because they were trying to unblock aisles and that, but there was just no chance. Like, you know what I mean? It was just.
Oh no, not in those temporary stands. There's no chance of like getting anybody to do anything you want them to do. People were just bouncing up and down on chairs. There was lads. I thought some lads were going to fall over the back of the temporary stands. They didn't and land in the waterworks, but they didn't. But it was good. And McAvaney was only a stone's throw away from the stand.
Boy,
He was sitting right next to this. They had this. Obviously, there's no like sort of media box in Solitude, so to speak. So they have to sort of set one up outside, like a raised platform. And McAvaney was like right next to where the Celtic fans were. So there's loads of McAvaney crack going on, you know.
Because McAvaney briefly played with Cliftonville, didn't he?
He played one game for Cliftonville. He got into the cup final, I think.
Aye.
I think he was meant to play more, but I think they paid him his money. He played one game and I think he just left it.
The morning of the game, me and Liam, Brummy boy for Hail Media, me and Liam were both going to Birmingham to work that day, and in Glasgow Airport, all the troops heading over to Ireland for the game. Man, it was great. You're going to work, and they're all on the lager at that time in the morning. I just felt absolutely fantastic on that flight to Birmingham.
To be honest, I'm glad that Liam felt like that, because he was saying he was happy with a 1-0 defeat before the game.
You're joking?
No, honestly.
Really?
Aye, I was like, I just said to us, Liam, if we get the nights, we will just gain up,
I know. Oh, come on. I mean, this is it. But through that Elfsborg, and let's face it, folk are worrying about Bangura playing against us. Come on.
I know, what's like, saying the article for there, Bangura's out for revenge. What revenge?
Aye, they're fifth place in the Swedish League. So if we've got any aspirations to do anything at all in Europe, and we're worrying about a team that's fifth place in the Swedish League, with the greatest respect to the Swedish League, come on.
But I mean, like, their biggest threat is Mo Bangura. I mean,
see, I need to get one thing off my chest here as well. See, we've discussed the new training, right? So we've got Van Dijk and Big Baldy.
I thought he could have run out the Cliftonville game in fairness.
My mate driving me into the airport last Wednesday, and turns around to me and says, one thing, that Big Baldy, he's no use. He's actually made his mind up already that he's hopeless. that Baldy's never played with any of his teammates before. He's came from a different culture, probably struggling with the language as well. He's a young guy away from home, and he's not played a competitive game yet.
Name and shame this, mate.
Him and says he's no use.
Name and shame this, mate.
Mouse.
Mouse said that?
My mate Mouse, he said that. He says he's no use. I'm like, come on.
How old is it?
You can tell. I'm like, what?
How old is this kid?
I think he's about early 20s.
I tell you what, Joe, it's a good job you never seen him shooting then at half time in the Cliftonville game. So put one at the stadium.
He's right in front of us, him and Danny McGrath. Danny McGrath was throwing the ball back and forward, And of course, it obviously come to the end of the session. The team were coming back out. So the ball kind of bounced behind him. So he turned around and he took a shot for the open goal. And I swear to God, it sailed over North Belfast.
His goal down at Brentford wasn't exactly Messi-esque either, but at the end of the day, you need to give the big man a chance.
Of course not.
He's a big lad, like.
Yeah, he isn't half.
We seen him stand in front of us, kicking the ball, like, he's a big boy.
Powerful guy.
He's a big boy, is it, Joe?
For what I've read, we shouldn't expect this guy to be an out-and-out striker. I think he's one of these guys that's going to play more like wide off the strikers. It's kind of where Stokes has been playing like. So, which to me means we need to get the finger out and sign a striker, especially when we know Gary Hooper. We know Gary Hooper's leaving. Do you know what I mean? We need a centre forward, an out-and-out goal scorer.
I know.
Play Mulgrew up there.
I think, obviously Hooper's going to go. I think you're in that situation now where you're one striker injury away from a bit of crisis here. Because if Stokes goes, that's your last penalty box guy gone. Sam are asking for a number of roles, but then if he was to get injured, then you kind of really lightweight up there. As Jason says, you can't just Baldy's just coming into the team, you don't know what to expect yet. It doesn't leave you with much.
The thing that bothers me about it, Paul, is right. We do this all the time. Like, we wait to the last minute, and if Neil Lennon's obviously got guys that he's picked out who he fancies, and I dare say they are working on things in the background, but they've got the Wanyama money there and everything. They've got the Champions League. I mean, the money's there. It's not like we need the Hooper money first before we make the signing. So it frustrates me when we've got big games coming up in Europe that are massive to the club financially going forward to make the Champions League again, stuff like that. Why we're no more proactive in this, and obviously we don't know what's going on in the background, but just as a fan sitting here on the banks of the Boyne, you're like, why are we not getting our business done a bit quicker when we know the season starts so early?
Are you not thinking that maybe they want to see how far they get? Obviously, they want to progress a bit more in the Champions League, and then look at maybe bigger players that may attract.
Well, what if we didn't make the Champions League because we've not got a striker?
I know, that's catch-22.
That's catch-22,
But you know that the way they'll be thinking about it as well is no point in signing a big striker if we're not in the Champions League, so they might think.
That's it,
And I mean, I've seen like they've Tony Watt's saying, Lennon says to him, if you're not playing by the end of this, we'll put you on loan, right? So he's obviously not really thinking about him and his plans too much at the minute. As Jason says, Elfsborg, I'm not worried about them. I don't think even their players think they've got any chance against Celtic. But I'll say this, last season we had a hell of a big debate on this programme about HJK Helsinki and Helsingborg and the potential, and they were mid-season and blah, 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 blah. Our team's not as good as it was last season. And as Harper says, we need to address that quite quickly to make sure that we retain, because there's no point in being the Champions League 1 year and then not being in that again for another 3,
And the thing is, I'm not saying I need us to go out and sign a big name striker. I just want us to go out, and I'm quite happy for us to sign somebody else. I've never heard it. I'd never heard of Gary Hooper before he signed for Celtic. I just want us to go out there and have a striker. I'd rather have us. Why would we not let these guys do in their pre-season with us, who we want to be playing with us this season? And I do understand the catch-22 situation. Well, you maybe didn't make Europe, or we maybe would have got a better guy if we did. We maybe sign somebody better if we do make Europe, instead of the guy who you could sign right away to score the goal. I don't know, but I find it frustrating that we're leaving ourselves a wee bit short of options. Let's just say.
Aye, and the thing is, last year as well, when we played Helsinki and stuff like that, there was a couple of moments in that game, if it went the other way, they had a couple of wee half chances and things like that, and it could have been a hell of a lot different, but surely, I'm pretty confident we can beat Elfsborg. After them, I think, is there maybe Belgrade or Dinamo Zagreb or something like that. There's a team like that we can kind of get, so that could be tough. So I don't think they'll invest the money until we get into the Champions League. I just don't. I think they'll maybe have another couple of guys similar to Baldy in the radar, but I don't think there'll be any like marquee signings. I think maybe if we get into the Champions League potentially, but even at that, I don't know.
I don't think there'll be a marquee signing. Full stop. I just don't think. We just don't do it.
John Hartson over the weekend trying to get us to sign Jermaine Defoe. It's just.
$80,000 a week he's on or something. Piss right off you clown. He's right for the sun. I'm not interested in anything John Hartson's got to say. Let's face it. He's wondering about a Celtic tattoo. He get paid $30,000 a week for playing for Celtic. So that's all he loves us. So he does. Can't be bothered. But it's the business model Celtic have got is obviously working. But at the end of the day, we are in the accountants, we're fans, we want to see decent players. See, at the end of the day, see if we don't get anything for Gary Hooper, see as long as he gets us into the Champions League. Keep him, play him and get in the Champions League, then sell him, because as we said before we come on air, he's not going to be going to a top 4 team in England. The way it's looking now, he's not even going to be going to a Premiership team. So I don't think whether he's cup tie in the Champions League is going to have a bit of bearing on. And the thing is, if he fires us into the Champions League with some top goals, maybe you would get a Premiership team like an Everton or a Villa or something like that coming in for him.
And he's pretty paid. It was $2 million they paid for him at the beginning, 2.2 or something like that. But he already got that money back, I think.
If he gets in the Champions League, he can leave in a free. Yeah. If he's wanting to go that much, if somebody's wanting to leave Celtic to go, we'll survive. We'll go on, and at the end of the day, his career will be going the one way. If he leaves Celtic, he'll be down.
Peter Lowell just choked on his olive and his gin and tonic there when you said that you could go free.
Choked his umbrella on the gin and tonic.
I say last week, I said Peter Lawwell would be right to choke Jose Mourinho when he bid that $10 million for Wayne Rooney, because we're looking to get after that for Gary Hooper.
Fair point. He's in the last year of his contract as well, isn't it?
For Christ's sake, if they're only getting $10 million for Rooney, then it'd be great to get $5 million. But I would just rather see it resolved, let him go, and then I don't really care where he goes, to be honest, but just get him going and get in a striker. And I'm not for saying marquees, signings, whatever, but I do think that we probably do need a bit of a hero. Again, I hope somebody can become it, but because the model that we've talked about, if you look at it, we brought in James Forrest, who basically replaced Stevie McGeady, who also came through the ranks, and we've got $10 million for him. That's perfect. That's exactly what we should be doing. But every so often, you need to put bums on seats, and you need to give the fans just that wee bit to pay in. It's been a long time since we've had that kind of signing.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Paul? Do you not think really? That's all that's all I'm crying out for, really, at the minute, as a centre forward striker. I don't necessarily think we need to replace Wanyama, and the fact that this is going to be a massive season for Kyle. Obviously, he's going to get his chance in there. I think Ambrose is probably going to play midfield a lot more, where I think he's better for us. And he's a bit of a bomb scare at the back at times. So really, it's not as if we've got a lot of players to sign. Do you know what I mean? One good signing would do me, like.
I've got a feeling Kyle will come on to a bit of game this year, because he was great when he first came to us in with that injury. I don't know, maybe just wasn't as confident, but I don't know, it's a big see. I think Rodgick, the boy Rodgick, will come good as well. I like the look of him.
I like that.
So,
I agree with that.
A bit more game time there as well. And I think you're right, Harper. Wanyama, it's no he'd be big miss in Europe, because obviously you need dominant midfielders in Europe. But say we get an injury to Kyle or an injury to Ledley, then you're in a bit of trouble. But I would much rather Gary Hooper was replaced, because at the end of the day, I would rather Gary Hooper sign a new deal with us. He's the striker I'm looking for. We've already got him. But if he doesn't want to stay, he goes. I think he's a top player, and I really have got a lot of time for Gary Hooper in a Celtic shirt. So I would love for him to sign on. But if he doesn't, we need to replace him, because we need somebody to fit. I like Stokes, but I don't know, Stokes needed Hooper to be good. I think the two of them were sort of good together. And with that one, we need somebody else to sort of fill the void. And Big Baldy doesn't look like he is. Tony Watt isn't the type of player that Gary Hooper is.
No.
As I say, as Paul said, maybe Lenny's going to put him out on loan. But he plays Charlie Mulgrew everywhere else. I maybe get Charlie Mulgrew, wedge him in up front.
Tell me.
Because he's always lethal with the dead ball situations, which he doesn't actually score any goals for us.
Tell me, what's the situation then as well? And we've kind of missed this, I suppose. And Kelvin Wilson, Nottingham Forest put a bid in, I think 1.4 or 1.5 million. Celtics told them that's not enough. So they never told him he's not for sale. They told him that's not enough. Kelvin Wilson, obviously, he's in the last year of his contract. So again, we're finding ourselves with a guy here who's a mainstay in the team, who had votes for a few people for Player of the Year last year in the Celtic jersey. That's going to be a big jersey to replace. Now, I don't know about this guy who we got him for Wolves. I don't know if we've signed him yet for definite, did we?
Aye, we have, aye.
How do you say his name again?
I'm not sure. So I mean,
Maya Coco.
right, aye. So I mean, is he coming in as a straight replacement for Kelvin Wilson? Is Ambrose got to still play in the back? Is Mulgrew going to play at the back? There's a lot of questions still to be answered here. Like, no, it's got to be interesting to see how this develops. But the thing is, you've got to be looking at it as well. You're potentially losing your three best players for last season, and that's big for any team. Look, it doesn't matter who they are. That's big for any team to lose your three best players. And I don't know, are we going to replace them, or are we just going to go plod on with what we've got? Is basically what I'm asking. Like,
well, I mean, I think it's obvious that the Celtic sort of viewpoint on Kelvin Wilson is, well, we're not going to sell him for $1.5 million, but if they come in with a decent offer, he can go. I mean, that seems clear, because there was none of this, he's definitely not for sales nonsense, and it was kind of like, well, that's not enough, you know? So, you know, probably looking at a guy that they could maybe sell again next year or after a new contract, but I don't think we should be thinking like that anymore, as you say, Harper. I think we should be saying, right, who's our best players? Because, you know, then you could be sitting in a situation where you get rid of him and say, all right, well, we'll go Moyakolo, we'll go Van Dijk, that'll do. And then somebody comes in with a 10 million for Foster or something, and you're supposed to sell him as well. And, you know, it's fine for the SPL, but if you want to keep progressing in the Champions League, it makes it even harder.
do you know what's frustrating about it? If you remember years ago, right, when the close season was much longer than it is now, obviously, because we're playing these early qualifiers and stuff like that, right? And we're playing sort of more televised friendlies and everything, right? But the close season was the close season, and practically all your business was done then. Do you know what I mean? I know there wasn't a transfer window. I'm going back years ago, like, there wasn't and your business was done, and then the team that went away pre-season, that was your team. Or you'd maybe get a guy who would join the team halfway through pre-season. Remember, you'd always say he's about to fly out to Germany or Sweden to join up with the squad. But when it came to the first game of the season, that was your team, by and large. And I just feel that our season started, and we don't know who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. And it's key players. That's the issue. Like,
I agree. We've been joined by Josh Gaffney there, Josh.
Yep.
What did you want to talk about there, Josh? I didn't even take it. I just wanted to join in the cracking.
Right, Josh.
I was just listening. I wanted to, just join in and make a little point. You were talking about the Elfsborg game for a little bit.
Yes.
And basically said, they were fifth in the league and we played against Helsingborg last season and we beat them. But I think it's not as simple as that. I think there's a big factor that comes in this year, and that's in that we're going to be playing a top Swedish, one of the best teams in Sweden, 3 weeks earlier than we did last year. And if you cast your mind back to last year, although we got the result at the end of the day, 4-0 aggregate, that kind of hid a performance in the first leg where we were totally outplayed for vast portions of the game. And we got quite luckily managed to get ourselves 2 goals in the first leg. So I think it's going to be a really, really hard game, this Elfsborg game.
I don't think we get totally outplayed, Josh. I think we get totally outplayed. They had a couple of chances. I wouldn't say totally outplayed.
Well, basically that kind of kneeling and dropped Kyle basically for months after that, and that it was trying to fit more good, and after that I think definitely did shake us quite a bit that game.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, those games, those pre-season, sort of how I said pre-season, those like qualifying rounds, they're always sticky wee games. I mean, no matter who you're playing, obviously Cliftonville are out of the way. Cliftonville are a part-time team as well. I don't know what you're saying. I mean, this is kind of going to be the first sort of full-time professional test on Europe, sort of on somewhat of a European stage. But I don't know. See, when you hear things like fifth in the Swedish league, immediately you kind of go, Then again, I don't watch Swedish football, so I don't really know.
But they finished first last season and only 5 points behind first place this season. Fact is, they're like halfway into their season and we're only in pre-season. And there's a lot of things that come in, when you're midway through a season, you've got all the chemistry, the partnerships, little tricks that you can do. And this Elfsborg team, they've got 2 experienced strikers as well. I think we can underestimate this team.
Well, first of all, Josh, Swedish football's rubbish to them. I mean, if anybody can phone in and tell me the last time a Swedish team done anything in Europe. Second of all, we will be known pre-season for the second leg, which I think will be crucial. And thirdly, these 2 experienced strikers you're talking about, they brought in Mo Bangura because they are not that good. You know what I mean? So, while they might be an efficient outfit, our experience and our quality should be far too much for them. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Hibs went over here 5 years ago, they got trampled all over them by a far better team than Elfsborg are right now. Elfsborg aren't, some big European heavyweight or anything like that. Whereas reality is Celtic are, and Celtic, I think if you've got the experience here, the quality there, the fitness shouldn't be an issue by the time we play them. We're going to be playing Cliftonville tomorrow, Bushrush and Gladbach, and then we play them, and then we'll be playing Ross County, and then we'll play them again. If we're not fit enough to beat them then we'll never be fit enough.
I'm just looking at the league table here. They're fifth in the league. The last 5 games, drew, lost, won, lost, drew. So they're not exactly in a rich, very form at the minute either. I understand what you're saying, Josh, and it comes back to the same discussion that Paul mentioned that we had last year. It's always going to be. I don't think there's a difference between the fact that we should be confident in beating a team like this than being complacent. I don't think anybody will be complacent. I don't think the manager certainly won't be complacent. I think we'll treat it as a dangerous tie, which it is, because it's always tricky playing a team halfway through the season. But I would be encouraged by the fact, the way, as Jason said, we professionally went about our business in Cliftonville and Belfast. These players know what the prize is at the end of these games. Let's not kid yourselves on. That's why a lot of these guys are at Celtic. Well, that's certainly why they want to stay at Celtic and they want to play in these big games, your Joe Ledleys and stuff like that. So I understand what you're saying, and I don't think we're underestimating them. I just think we should be confident in beating a side at their level.
Yep. See, another point as well, Paul sort of touched on it as well, Harper, that you're talking about that Celtic team. We've got an experienced European team.
Yeah.
Because the past 2 seasons, they've played hell of a amount of European ties together. So they know what is expected all professionals. They know what the prize is. They're desperate to get into the Champions League. And okay, we've maybe not played a lot of games this season, but these players know each other inside out, or they should be now, because they've been playing together for the vast majority for 2 years.
And of course, barring injury, we can start the same teams that beat Barcelona. Obviously, Wanyama's away, but take Wanyama out of it, and you can start with the same team as well, you know. So,
I watched the Hibs Malmo game on a stream last Thursday, and for first 20 minutes, I mean, it just looked like it was going to be an annihilation. Malmo go 2-0 up, Hibs are all over the place. They get chance after chance after chance. But you could tell, see, after about 60 minutes, when Hibs realised they're not that great, this team, and they started to get a bit sharper as the game went on, Hibs had just 1 or 2 chances they could have just sneaked in. And, I think that's what it's all about. I think that, like last season, you're kind of thinking, oh God, mid-season, but now we have that experience to be like, right, okay, we've got a couple of goals past them at Celtic Park, because we're always going to score away from him. You know what I mean? We scored in the Nou Camp, we scored in Lisbon, and we scored in Moscow, so we've got no qualms about scoring in Elfsborg. And that must worry a team like Elfsborg. I mean, the only thing that really concerns me is the fact that they do play on a fast pitch, the second leg's going to probably be in Sweden. But other than that, if we were to win 1-0 at Celtic Park, I wouldn't be thinking, oh Christ, we're going to get hammered over there. I'd be more than confident they're actually going over there and scoring.
Aye, me too. So take that, Josh.
See, do you know someone else as well? See these days.
I'm just scared in case we get a surprise and we get a bit complacent in defence, and then you're out. If we go out here, do we go in the Europa League?
Go to Europe qualifier.
You need to play a qualifier. But you're talking about, I don't think MD will be more scared, maybe scared's the wrong word, than Neil Lennon. I mean, he knows what's at stake here.
Right.
I mean, you've seen the pressure he put under himself for the Helsinki and the Helsingborg game last season. The pressure that the guy put himself under because he knew what was at stake. He's under no illusions. The same's at stake this season.
Right. Yeah. And Jason, you even heard what he said about Cliftonville before we played Cliftonville. Of course, he's given them their place, given them the respect, but he's saying all the right things. And make no bones about it. We'll be prepared for these ties. And someone else? I think the plastic pitch stuff is a wee bit played out now. Players are training on all these kind of things all the time, indoor facilities we've got and all that. I don't think that's as much a leveler as it used to be years ago. I think your players can play that in the ball. Aye, and maybe we should get one. Aye. But so Josh, just shut up.
We phone Neil Lennon and tell him.
Sorry, man, I'm only kidding. You know that.
At the end of the day, you're right, Josh. It's like everybody's just a bit worried with things like this. But when you analyse it, you look at the stats. We have got a bit of European pedigree now. And we've sort of created our own sort of, I don't know. We've sort of created a bit of as Paul said, we've got a bit of a European pedigree now with this team. Neil Lennon has in the last 2 years. Year one, albeit now a bit lucky with that mob getting toughed out. But that set the foundations for this year, because we sort of knew what it was like to play in Europe. And I'm really confident. Maybe it's a bad thing, maybe it'll come back bite us in the bum, but I'm pretty confident.
I think maybe the difference might be, though, that, for years, that was for a long, long time, Celtic Park has been like a tough place for European teams to go, right? Because we all kind of had that sort of away day, sort of hoodoo hanging over us. But I think now, this Celtic team in particular, not only is Celtic a typical place to come for European away teams, but Celtic are a difficult team to beat, because they do have a lot of grit and determination, I think. There's not too many wilting flowers in the team.
I think the barometer for me last season was in Benfica, where we played absolute crap against a really good European side, and we barely took a draw that night.
Yeah.
And I think in the past that would have been a 3-0 defeat. It would have just been aim and no chance, no hope, no nothing. That's it. That night, we played crap, we nicked a goal, we defended deep, we almost equalised in the last couple of minutes. And I think that comes to the belief, and I think the fans go into it now thinking, you know what, let's do this, If you can play place like the Nou Camp and certainly, when teams like Elfsborg, you know, we could say, oh man, Bangura, experience things like that. But they'll be looking at guys like Samaras and Comas who've done the damage away from him and all that. It's we need to keep a strong eye on these players, you know.
Yeah. And Sammy, I thought Sammy looked really good in the Cliftonville game, but obviously, you know, there's that, you know, there's that level of difference. But I mean, I think Sammy, he's kind of had a long climb to being respected as a Celtic player, and I think he's definitely there now, you know.
Sammy's one of the most important players this season.
That's what I think too.
In the big games, without a doubt, he belongs in that stage. You know, he belongs at the top table. I think he's just got the big Greek Adonis look about him. He's the man.
Did you see?
When you're watching with the Premier League throughout the season, it ends up driving you daft. But see, when push comes to shove, let's say Champions League nights, he's your first name in the team sheet.
Yeah. Did everybody see the video of wee lad Jay Beattie on the Celtic team bus singing for Samaras? That was great. It's good stuff.
That's who boy for working.
Wee lad, brilliant.
One last thing before I go, on that same sort of subject, if we do have a long and fruitful Champions League campaign, who do you think will be the main sort of outfield players for us this season? Obviously last year was sort of Wanyama and Hooper and Samaras. Do you think anyone else will stand up?
Comments, I've been saying that for about 3 years now. So
Scott Brown.
Scott Brown, I think Scott Brown's going to be up to his best this season, because I mean last season, obviously he was in and out with injuries, but I mean he looked really fit. Cliftonville game, and he must be really fit if they're going to play him.
I'll put my cards on the table right now. If Scott Brown stays fit, he'll be Player of the Year this year.
I think you're right.
I wouldn't disagree with that, Harper.
Well, here, Harper, listen, we got to address obviously the sad passing of Paddy McCourt. Well, not passing, you know what I mean, but he's
realised he stuffed it like.
Well, I'm pouring a drink.
You're pouring a drink?
Is he signed for him then?
I haven't heard of anything.
No, it's supposed to be signed for Peterborough, I think.
Peterborough's answering the question,
Actually, see the question earlier on, we did get a tweet for Evo Knievel just before he jumped out of the Grand Canyon. He says Murphy's first goal was against Lincoln City. Remember we were talking at the start? Lincoln City, because Chris Sutton was the manager there at the time.
We were way off.
Well, we're in
Can I just say before I forget, see, obviously Joe and that for the Kano Foundation comes on here quite a lot. So quite a lot of stuff's been going on throughout the close season with the Kano Foundation. And I think Joe got a good purse out in Vegas. Quite a lot of great donations. So there are a couple of things. I'm doing whitewater rafting this weekend with them up in Perthshire, so I'm looking forward to that. If anybody wants to sponsor me, contact me on Twitter. Don't worry.
Is it you and Linda doing it?
Me and Linda are doing it. It's my wife's birthday on Saturday, and it's Sunday. We're doing the whitewater rafting, so I'm looking forward to it. But first game of the season against Ross County. Is it Ross County who played first game of the season?
Yes.
Yeah.
Aye, it's the late kick-off, 5:15 or 5:30.
Yeah.
Kano Foundation are going to be doing bucket collections before the game, and they're looking for volunteers. So if MD wants to give up a couple of hours, it's only going to take a couple of hours. Contact us, HomeBhoys, through Twitter, or contact the Kano Foundation. Probably better, I'm just going straight to the Kano Foundation on Twitter, and they'll make arrangements and get your size for a t-shirt, get you a Kano Foundation t-shirt, and as I say, a couple of hours before the game, you'll get in for the flagging up. Don't worry, you won't miss any of the game, but it's just a couple of hours out of your time, and I'll be doing it. And I think my lovely wife Linda's going to volunteer as well. She's going to rattle a bucket, so I'll need to get somebody to take the kids in because they're no for it. I say she's going to help me with buckets. Oh no. but yeah, they're looking for volunteers to stand about outside the stadium before the game, a couple of hours before the game, to raise some much needed cash for the Kano Foundation this season. So we're going to do it for the first game of the season, and just anybody that's willing to give a couple of hours of their time, just contact any one of us guys on HomeBhoys, or go direct to the Kano Foundation through their Facebook, through on Twitter, or even go to their website. James, the chat room, says Tommy for the Kanos already asked me to help with the bucket collection. Yep, James, more the merrier, mate. Bring all your friends and any good looking women you can bring.
Are you collecting any?
The parrots just says on the chat room there, who's unfurling the flag? Some see from the House of Lords. one, mate. Good one.
Well, here now, Kate's officially a MILF. But, Jason, are you collecting anything else apart from buckets?
Collecting anything else?
Hey, boom, boom. That's what happens, one half.
Notes. Aye. Looking for notes, not many coins, just get the notes in. But if any you see is, yep.
You're quite a high, you live in high society. You mean you're renting out villas, you're getting corporate boxes at Mets games, and you're whitewater rafting.
Oh, Joe, you want to tell? Joe, you want to tell the people? You want to tell the people about that?
Go ahead. Tell the people how you've said it. Wave at them from a corporate box on Female Day.
And City Field, well, it's a good friend of mine. A lot of guys, especially around about this area, will know him. A bit of legend, Brock McVeigh, Mr. Larkins.
Met him a few times.
Of Brock's.
My former neighbour.
Yep,
Met him in
Brock's
Vegas. Met him in San Francisco. Great guy.
Yep. So Brock's, he hails from Portadown. And he was a member of the Tunnel Celtic Supporters Club. Then he came over here and lived here for a good few years over in Craignuke. So I used to go to the games with him years ago. My first European trip went to Brock to Cologne away. But he lives in New York now, and he knew we were going over, and he could speak to his wife's cousin, who's a big shot, and he's got a corporate box at City Field at the Mets. So he found out me and Harper and that were going over, and he's like, I'll need to sort you guys out. So we've got one of the best boxes in City Field. Steak dinner, free drink.
So what's the thing? We need to explain to the people listening what this started out as. This started out as an everyman's, grab a beer, grab a hot dog, let's all get together at Celtic Taps and watch the Mets and be as one, sitting in the stadium. Now it's fuck you, lad. I'm going to drink the free beer.
Aye, Joe, there was supposed to be buses. There was supposed to be buses running for the Bronx, for Kearney, for Woodside. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, Harper, where are you sitting in the stadium?
Huh?
Where are you sitting in the stadium?
I can only go where. I'm only going where you've organised things.
Shut up there. Sorry, where are you sitting in the stadium?
Excuse me. Did I turn down the ticket first?
No, you just gave it a poor me. I need my wife to come as well. Your lovely missus is good.
Right.
We can just end that one there. Tell you how the half live. It's one of those things.
That's it. Don't knock a gift horse in the mouth, Joe.
Yeah, but listen, I would never turn down something like that. That's amazing. Harper told me, and I was like, that's fantastic.
Happy. You get to meet an old Mets legend and stuff like that. They come into your box and hobnob you, so happy days.
Is that going to be Jerry Seinfeld, though?
It'll go be Tom Seaver anyway, that's for sure.
The Count.
Maybe the Count. Mr. Met, we can get Mr. Met. I think we can kidnap him and send Harper out as Mr. Met. Rugby tackle. Rugby tackle. Prince Fielder or something.
We'll know if it's Harper when he just collapses as we play up. I know.
Mr. Met's been on the drink. Right, anyway, back to Celtic.
Can I leave now, please?
Absolutely, Josh.
I said 50 minutes ago, one last question before I go. You've not given me the opportunity to go.
Sorry, do you have any more questions, though?
No, that was the last one. I'll let someone else call in.
Right.
No problem, Josh. Talk later, mate.
Cheers, man. Take it easy.
Yes, for Paul.
See you.
Alright, sorry, I cut him off. Everybody still there, yeah?
Aye.
What other news have we got then? I only had like a limited amount of information down here.
So, Paul, what did you mention there about that other signing? As far as I know, we only signed two. Have we signed somebody else?
Aye, we signed that Stephen Moyakolo, aye.
Oh, right.
That was all official on Friday.
Was it? Bloody hell. I missed that. There we go.
It's a free transfer, and it's not a huge wage thing. It's only a year contract with a year option.
Okay.
So, but the great thing about his interview, you should look it up because he sounds like a really humble guy. He talked about, he made a decision, he wanted to go somewhere with his career, that's why he took a chance and left Wolves, and he understands how hard people have got it right now. Obviously, no you and Harper and your executive bosses. Football players now are all cocooned in this world and all that kind of thing, and he understands what it means to fans and that. So, he's making all the right noises and stuff. And then Neil Lennon says he's been looking since he was at Hull, and this was the first opportunity he had to get him. So, he might be a wee rough diamond, you know.
If he keeps talking like that, Jason will name his next child after him.
Oh, I follow the joys of spring tonight, aren't we?
That's it. We're just getting back in the swing of things. You know what I mean? Somebody's got to go whipped. Normally it's me, so I mean, I'm glad it's not me.
Like, should have beaten you after the disaster at the start?
Nothing. Listen, everything on my computer is working fine. I don't know what the connection with the website. Must be some sort of audio settings or something. Never mind that. Everything's going swimmingly nice so far. I mean, don't look back, look forward. Just
So I suppose it's too far forward to look at the Liverpool game. I suppose we'll be back on before then, won't we?
Yeah, well, it's what, 10th of August?
It's quite a bit away yet. Paul, you're coming across, is that right?
Yes, I'll be there, yes.
Right, I've got a ticket as well, so we'll definitely hook up.
Actually, it's funny you bring up the ticket there, Harper. Have you actually got your ticket?
I have, yes. I have it in hand, yep.
I mean, is that not one of the most bizarre tickets you've ever seen?
I don't know, I'll just go and get it.
Have a look at it. If it's the same as mine anyway. I'm expecting you to be enraged by this, Jason.
Why? What is it?
Well, think about who we're playing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, no, fine. Forgot about that.
How do you mean? Just looks like a normal ticket.
Well, look at the difference between our names.
Yours is Larkin, mine's is Harper. What do you mean?
It's your ticket not got a big massive Liverpool in it.
Oh, aye, like Liverpool's the home team sort of thing.
Aye.
Joke. Typical.
I can't tell you, you know, was it a 50-50 split for tickets, sir?
As far as I know, what happened was a guy at work was telling me this, who's got a season ticket for the Aviva. No, they actually buy season tickets here. Like if you're in the international team and that, like you buy a season ticket for the Aviva. I think you can go to the rugby and that as well. Is that where they have the rugby as well? I'm not sure.
So. I think it's a full thing. You can get everything by the concerts.
Aye, so people, there was X amount set aside for people with season tickets and for clubs affiliated to the League Ireland, of course, and like boys clubs and all that. And for what I was told, the pre-sale, practically the entire lower tier of the entire stadium was sold before the tickets even went on sale. Practically, that's what I was told. As far as I know, Celtic got 15,000 tickets, Liverpool got 15,000 tickets, and the rest went in general sale. So I would imagine the split's going to be, it'll be quite significant. Liverpool to Celtic.
Yeah,
I'd say probably 60 to 70% Liverpool fans. But that'll not matter.
Is that not a bit disappointing?
No, because, well, it would have been disappointing to me before I moved to Ireland. Since I've lived in Ireland and seen that nobody fucking supports Celtic, it's not surprising at all, no?
I don't know, nobody supports Celtic. I think in Ireland you see plenty of Celtic jerseys around. You don't see plenty of Celtic supporters around.
Well, just think about any workplace you've worked in, right? How many Celtic fans you've worked beside? Handful.
Since I've been living in like the south of Ireland, just you.
Not just me at all. There's more, but that's what I'm saying though. How many Liverpool?
It was just more or less just you.
How many Liverpool fans? How many Man United fans? Loads.
Tons.
So I mean, it was always going to be that way, like for this game, which is fair enough. Celtic are the game. We'll be getting paid decent money, and it's a chance for us to go and see Celtic on our doorstep. So I'm never going to complain at that. And the stuff that's going to be going on in Dublin is very similar to what was going on in Belfast last week. Every band with an Irish accent or an Irish name is going to be in Dublin for a couple of days. Between pubs are all fighting each other with different bands, so it's going to be.
You seen last week at Cliftonville. I mean, there's barmen couldn't draw a breath.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
There's going to be a big party weekend for that game. So no, I'm looking forward to it. Know that I'll be partying all weekend because I just know be.
Sure, partying all this weekend, weren't you?
No, yeah, I'll be getting ready for my holidays, so I need to keep my pennies.
Do you think the Shankill Liverpool mob will be heading down? Because they've got a big support up that neck of the woods.
Aye, say Liverpool FC for God and Ulster.
Aye, there's a few of that. That'll be interesting.
Think so? Nah, no trouble.
I don't think
there will be. But, I wonder how many Liverpool fans for Liverpool will make the journey across.
Do you know what? Do you think there'll be a
near amount of us that'll make the journey from Glasgow across?
That's what I was thinking. Do you think? I don't know that Dublin has such a big appeal. Really, to play a friendly against Liverpool, is it a massive appeal? I mean, Jason.
They got a boat straight there, Harper.
But what I'm saying, like, say for you, when you heard that, were you like, "Oh, I've got to get to that"? I know I'm discounting the fact that you've just been on holiday and then you're going on another holiday. And you're doing so many things because you're that kind of guy, you know. But what I mean is, though, is that a thing? Is like Dublin like that the Mecca that I think it used to be for fans? Or because I can always remember why are we not playing a game in Dublin? Everybody will go to Dublin, it'll be amazing. And then they had the Dublin Super Cup, or whatever they called it, and hardly anybody turned up for it for Man City and Inter Milan.
I brought my wife to that one. And this will be packed. This will be amazing. We get in. I was like, what's this happen?
I mean, I know it's no this. I mean, Inter Milan Celtic should have been a massive draw that day.
Right, that too, yeah.
But I know Liverpool, they've got it right this time because Liverpool or Man United will sell at the Aviva just because of the supports they've got in Ireland. People will take their kids and all that kind of stuff who would normally never get to see Liverpool in their lives. But what I'm saying is, does Celtic playing in the Aviva have the draw to the ordinary punter in Glasgow for a friendly?
Not for me. On you go,
No.
Paul.
No, I was just going to say, I think that no matter what it is nowadays, it's like people just understand it's a friendly. And it doesn't matter who you're playing, it's still a friendly. And that's it. And, you know, we could sit here and have a fucking theological debate on what formation we'll play against Liverpool, but the reality is we're all going there to get pissed. I mean,
See the difference as well. Like 10 years ago when I was going down to 15 years ago, I went down to Anfield for testimonial, and I was away to Bolton for a testimonial and that, right? But now there's so many games, these European ties, they all come thick and fast for Celtic. There's so many travelling games that so much a trip to Ireland maybe isn't really in the budget. It doesn't have that same appeal for a friendly when you know you could be in a month's time heading off to Italy or Germany or to see some top sides. You know what I mean?
Plus,
right.
Dublin's a rip-off as well, in fairness.
Well, I don't think that really comes into it, to be honest, much. When we've gone anywhere, you never think, I wonder how much the price of the pint will be. You know what I mean?
See, the thing is, you always say Dublin's a rip-off, right? So say you went to Albania, right, for 2 days, you 300 quid in your tail. You go to Dublin for 2 days, you get 300 quid in your tail. You're coming home with jack shit no matter where you go. The money's getting scudded, simple as that. But see, on the chat room, Scott's talking about does a friendly attract anybody? And the thing is, if you're looking for we're going to have a prosperous season in Europe, then obviously somebody that are married with kids and stuff like that can only maybe pick and choose a couple of games. So I would much rather go to a competitive game. But see, on the flip side of the coin, I love socialising, and see when you go to friendlies, the game doesn't get in the way of you having a good time. Yeah. Whereas a lot of time when you go to the away Champions League games and stuff like that, you're a downer after the game, after getting pumped or whatever. But I just think years ago, when we weren't in European competition or we were early rounds and whatever, the games had far more appeal. But see now that you can be talking about, you can maybe have 6-7 away European trips in a season, competitive games. Then friendlies, they pale into a bit of insignificance. But saying that, see if it was a pre-season tournament, I went to the Rotterdam one a few years ago. I've been to Amsterdam to see them pre-season tour. I was on holiday when that Berlin one was on. I probably went to that. See that because Berlin's a place that interests me. I've never been.
For me though, I think it's nice that even if we do it every second year, right, to reward, if you like, the Irish support by a game in Ireland.
Aye, absolutely.
The amount of people that travel for here spend vast sums of money. Like, there's guys here who put their entire wage into following Celtic every week, and that's no exaggerating things like no. So it's nice.
There's no disagreement for me, mate. And I think they should rotate it as well. They should go to Cork, play Cork City. They should go up to Finn Harps or whatever, play up Donegal, and then I don't know, Newrytown or playing the Dock or whatever, or Drogheda United or whatever, just so that it gives everybody sort of for the four corners of the island, gives everybody a chance at seeing Celtic.
No,
I'd go with that.
I can't disagree with that, to be fair. And it's a chance for guys to take their kids to see Celtic, and as we're always talking about try to build the support in Ireland, and there's no better way to do that than for guys to go along and see the team. in the flesh. But at the same time, Celtic's got to they've got to embrace it properly as well. We've been very poor at the past and branding ourselves. Even in Ireland, we got a bit complacent, I think, with Ireland, thinking that the Irish will just turn up, they'll just buy everything anyway. And money's not the same as it was before, so you've got to brand it properly as well. They should have things on at that Celtic shop for the day before, maybe a couple of days after it. And I know we've got a European game before it and that, but there's guys on the fringes of that squad who we know will be playing, who could be along there. Then they could be there for half the day in the Celtic shop. Just make a big deal of it, no? Get loads of kids involved, and just you need to do more stuff when they're here rather than just showing up for the game. I think if you're wanting to kind of capture these kids, and it's something that we've all.
100% agree.
I think we are getting a wee bit better at that, but we'll wait and see what happens. I've never certainly seen anything. Living in Ireland, Joe, I don't know about you, but I've never really seen anything getting advertised, or I think they're just happy the game's sold out. Like.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's no like over push. I mean, it's just like it is. You're right. I mean, it's kind of they just expect the Irish fans to show up anyway. You know what I mean? But what else can you do? I think to attract more fans here. I mean, because that's something that needs to kind of be done. I mean, it's kind of left with the fans really to do it. I mean, to bring up their kids to be followers of Celtic. I mean, Celtic don't really. I mean, they had that dog and pony show a couple of years ago, but that was really for our benefit.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't trying to get fans involved.
But that's what I'm just saying. Get a couple of players along to the Celtic shop the day before the game, the day after the game. Do you know what I mean? There's a Celtic shop there in Dublin. Utilise it. Use it.
I mean, they must have good contacts with the FAI. I mean, like, the FAI have loads of schools initiatives and young people initiatives. For like especially with girls at the minute anyway, trying to get people into football. So I mean, why not throw a Celtic player in there, a couple of players that join in one of those initiatives, come over and do a bit of training, talk about goals scored. I mean, get the likes of Tony Watt to come over and talk about his goal against Barcelona or something, do a bit of a striking sort of course in the morning. I don't know, something. Yeah.
I just think Celtic took it for granted for years and years that everybody in Ireland supported Celtic, and then they realised they don't.
I took that for granted.
They've missed the boat, but I don't know. They should have. I don't know. Have Celtic got training academies or anything like that in Ireland? Is there anything?
Well, they had that show, didn't they? That Nicky Byrne show where they're trying to find a Celtic star from Ireland.
It was on RT.
Aye, so they did. Aye. So they need to do more of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do more of that kind of stuff. Yep. But I think as well, it's interesting. I don't know if you know anything about this or have I just made it up. But in recent years we were going to Australia. I know last year we went to America, but it was like during the season they had like a special. But I think it's good for the playing sense that we aren't going in these round the world trips. I know we're getting £1 or £2 million for doing it, but I think it's maybe got a bit of detrimental effect on the actual playing time. I don't know. I just think it's better to go to these like training places in Germany and Central Europe, and it's not too taxing, and the players, everybody's together and sort of they're training and they're sort of growing for the season and getting prepared best as we can in the season rather than going to the other end of the world. I don't know what you think of that.
I think there's definitely a football benefit in it.
Aye.
Being here, and I also think there's a benefit in Neil Lennon taking care of bits of business and stuff like that, and maybe looking at players and stuff like that where he's here, rather than being. I often thought when we were in Australia and America that'll be all encompassing. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by that? Aye? So I just think it's better for that sense. But the toss of the coin and that, the other side of the coin is we do need to market ourselves in these places. We do have decent supports on the East Coast, like no. I mean, we've got friends in New York and that, and you want them to get that experience. I mean, we know the party the boys had the day we played Real Madrid and all that. So it's a hard one, like no. The club's never going to turn down that kind of money. I think.
So do you not think it's been a conscious decision with the club for to concentrate the Champions League? You just think the invites haven't came and the money wasn't on the table, hence why we're doing it in Central Europe? I think if the invites had been there, we would have went to America. Aye. All right, okay.
Do you know?
The Aviva game invite as well was probably enough, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Probably being the good way to that game in Dublin, you know, and it's only just 40 minutes of the plane or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. That's a fair point. So, what about the new bar, Selleck Park?
Aye.
Yeah.
Any chance they'll lend you a few quid to get in?
Is this where all the Wanyama money's going? Is it into the bar?
No, well, if it is, we're going to be putting it in there, Joe, because it's £4.90 for a bottle of Magners.
I mean, shouldn't the case be that it's cheaper in a place where it's sponsored?
Wait a minute. How do we know about these prices and such? Is it open yet?
So on the website.
They're on Selleck's website.
Right. And how much is a bottle of Magners normally?
A pub, I'm not too sure. £3 or whatever.
That's what price is in euros here, 4.70. So, do you know what I mean? That's dear, like.
So £4.90 there, so what's that, about just under €6 or something?
That's
maybe about €5.50 or something like that.
I don't think the boys doing the Gallagher have got too much to worry about.
That's ridiculous.
£3.80 a pint of lager, which, see, to be fair, I think they've just mirrored the prices in the corporate bars round about the stadium, because you can't be expecting some bars to be cheaper than other ones, so I think that's just the case. They've mirrored those prices, whether it's right or wrong, that's what they've done.
Or perhaps they want a certain class of clientele coming into that bar.
You think so?
Nah,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, listen, I'm not going to nerd pay $4.90 for a bottle of Magners.
No, but plenty will. I heard Marty and Scott talking about it in the Temporary Stand podcast. Very positive about it, and Marty was saying it could be good maybe for the Irish support. We always arrive early.
That's a fair point. They're there for 12 o'clock at times, and get in and get a juice and whatever.
You can just get in there and then you're based at the park, do you know what I mean? And it's maybe better for that.
But as well, if you're landing it's 12:30 on a cold and wet, freezing December Glasgow afternoon, rather than walk all the way down the road to some other pub or walk up the road somewhere, you can just head into the ground. I can see the logic of it all, obviously.
You know yourself that bar will be full every week, regardless of the prices. But it is a wee bit disappointing, like.
The prodigal son has returned. The pirate.
Oh.
What's happening? Hello? You there, Stephen? Is this some sort of prank? No, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, you've taken him out.
He must be back on that Airwolf laptop.
Oh, he's back again. Hold on a second. Are you there?
Sorry, lads, the phone done a bangooner on me there. Very apologies. It was just a quick one for you. I don't know if you're aware of it. Obviously, the disgusting article in that newspaper, nobody should even mention its name yesterday. Supposedly, they're going to be running a scandalous tale about the actual huddle board tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm not on the huddle board or anything like that. There was a couple of guys on Twitter talking about it earlier on, saying this is part of the revenge of the Charlotte fakes. This is how the man running Media House or whatever it is, this is going to be its take back on it. It was just to see, obviously maybe Paul's got a few contacts. Will Celtic be doing anything? Obviously, the article yesterday, anybody that's not aware of it, they put the article about the burning bus up, and there was pictures of the Celtic fans.
I heard about this. For no reason, there was pictures of Celtic fans on the page as well.
Yeah, and the article was taken down. I know Kralski for Twitter, Craig actually contacted the complaints compartment, who says there was nothing really they could do about it because the article had been pulled down. But can Celtic not go to task or bat over this if they get him to fight McConnell?
So what is it? They try to say it's the bus getting burnt with something to do with Celtic support?
Well, no, it was just the story of the bus, and I think they just inserted Celtic fans at Brentford on the
gentleman, the guy who wrote the article, who's is all good Scottish things, is one of those fucking tartan Tedder. His name's Cameron, and his dad actually did the bidding. If you read the Charlotte fake stuff, his dad did the bidding for Jack at Company House for the Agent Provocateur tales of putting spin and mischief about other teams out allegedly just to cover you guys.
So at the end of the day, CM that buys that muck and believes it, they deserve what they get. Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. You just need.
I mean, the official explanation they gave was that it was a sub editor in London didn't know what he was doing and put the wrong pictures in and blah 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 and all the rest of it. But as Jason says, you know what I mean? If you're ever actually upset by something the Sun's doing, then just that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I know Celtic are aware of it. I know Celtic were collecting evidence today because there was a few things I'm sure people are aware of that were tagged onto the whole Brentford game to certain Twitter people who didn't support the same team as us and stuff, and people were going crazy about things that they'd been alleging about Celtic fans and stuff. So they're sifting through an absolute ton of stuff. But in the new kind of policy of the club, they will be doing something about it. You can rest assured about that.
Cool in the gang, Magic guys. Also, it's a direct exclusive for you now. With
Here
Mr.
we go.
With Mr. Bangura starting all his nonsense about revenge. I'm officially staying a Charlie Green and walking away from my brother's organisation, the Mo Bangura CSE. I'm resigning. In case he gets a hat trick at Parkhead, I'll be hiding up the house somewhere.
I can't believe you're going to turn on the sheriff.
Right.
I was just the front man for the organisation. A lot of people in Glasgow use this about football clubs in recent years, but no, I'm we're walking away from baby because everybody knows where the parrot sits. You know what I mean? These scamps below me 111 might start throwing pyro up at me or something like that. I did. Chris from Chris in the chat room for Paradise Report. I said I'm going to try and go in with the Swedes, hopefully. I mean, if everybody gets through the both respective teams, but Gothenburg's a fantastic city, and the IFK Gothenburg lads are fantastic, who hate Ellsberg. So if you get the chance of going to money, get yourselves over there.
So what, you going to start the Baldy Bushwhackers now?
I've got enough lost causes in my life, mate, honestly. It's going to be a season of reflection for me. Just going to sit and
What, you finally going to look at yourself in the mirror?
Not at all, mate. You kidding? You can't get a mirror big enough the size of my head, mate. You'd have to get one of the NASA spy dishes or something.
I seen the voice for that Ponce concert you were at last night.
What a turn that was, by the way. Absolutely.
Mogwai, great, aye.
No, it was, mate. It was fantastic.
Good Celtic supporters there, weren't they?
Well, aye, there was a couple of ex. I mean, Scotland, right? I mean, see, the reason you're going to get independence is there was two squads there that I seen in River City 4 years ago, and they're on the guest list. That's how you make it. You go on the telly twice in Scotland, and you're made for fucking life. You know what I mean? And somebody who works for Celtic was there, and there was a guy who used to work at Celtic who writes for the Daily Rancid now. I never realised he was a small Paul.
Aye, I never shaped him, Paul.
My kid was fine. No, it was a great night actually. I met my big mate who's one of the few decent zombies that I used to work with. And without talking shit, we sort of shot the shit for a few minutes. And this boy's on Twitter, etc. And I text Paul up.
He's gone.
It's gone.
Hello?
Oh. Is everybody gone? Oh, well, just me. Oh! Looks like Skype's hung up. Let's try and get this call back together. Call. Yo.
What happened there?
Skype cut off.
Alright, get the lads back on now.
It must have been your end because you're hosting the call.
I know. Oh, we've lost
You deliberately do that to get rid of the parrot. That's terrible.
No, I didn't. We'll let the parrot back on, or I think he's done.
Well, if he calls back, he calls back. If he's listening, it's parrot. If you're still listening, if you've got anything else to say, just call back, man.
Who's that? Jesus, hang on a second.
What's going on here?
Hello.
How have we got used to on the No Joe? What's that? There's two calls gone. Sorry, lads. Got here, hang up news, right? Wait for Joe to call you. Wait for Joe to call you. Skype cut off. It must have been your end because you're hosting the call. Wait a minute, how can I hear me talking?
That's the
What the fuck is going on?
They're on
Oh,
teacher. That
what?
boy Kenny McDade phoned in there. I know him.
What are you doing,
Here's the
Joe?
guy calling out. Oh, we're back. Everybody back?
Aye, we're back.
Want to get the parrot back?
See, just who you're talking about. See the Cliftonville game. Well, I remember. My mate with Jimo was with your man for. Oh shit! What's his name? Actor. For Martin Compton.
All right, man, Compton.
He was at the Cliftonville game there last week.
There you go.
Do you know who I mean?
Trying to get the parrot back.
Do you know who I mean?
Oh, my Sweet 16.
Aye.
He's also in the A Guide to Recognising Your Saints, set in New York.
Aye.
Film.
Aye. Does Frankie know we're live on the air here?
No, Stephen, are you there?
Yeah, loud and clear, guys, yeah.
Right, again, I just lost it for whatever second. You were saying something that really interesting there, wasn't it?
Go on, Kenny back in, Joe.
He called earlier on. He was the guy called earlier on.
I had him back in, I know him.
Right.
I've run out of stuff to say. I'm just, if I don't see you, Jason, I'll wish you all the best, mate. And I've got a few quid for you for your Splash X.
Are you going to the game tomorrow, mate?
Mate, aye, we can't.
Give us a wee shout. I'll meet you after work and I'll buy you a wee Mellow Birds.
I'm in depending on the time you finish, jump over to the south side and you can jump in our bus and I'll get you a pint at Queen's Park Cafe and we'll get you into the game.
Oh, fucking change the colours. Fucking Peter Lowell's pub.
No, his brother drinks in the pub. I was going to interview for the Lost Boys history thing. But I was told no.
I'll show you that.
Well, Queen's Park Cafe.
I'll give you a wee text tomorrow anyway, mate, alright?
I'll give a few quid, but no, apart from that, just all the best for it, mate. I gave Sniper a Lenny Mall work gear, so he's got gloves this side that Kenny Everett used to have in the telly, the old Brother Lee one, so they'll fish you if you're that quick. Have you go wrong?
No worries, mate.
Alright, I'll hear from you tomorrow, James. The rest of these boys say well. Talk to you soon.
Tar up here.
He used to live in Drogheda. Peter Lowell's brother here. Used to run a bookies or something. I think Celtic Daft, obviously. A few of the boys that I drink with here normally. He left Drogheda just before I moved here.
Right. Very good.
I'm trying to add Kenny on there, but he's not big.
You know there. All right.
Any more business to talk about?
I'd like to give a wee shout out to the No Passer and committee, Big Jazz, Frankie McGuinness and a few others for Motherwell. I went down in Motherwell on Saturday to the unveiling of the latest monument in Europe for the International Brigades, and it's a beautiful monument. And there was over 200 there in attendance with a few speakers. By Daniel Gray that wrote homage to Caledonia, and Willie Maley, whose father James Maley fought in the International Brigades, and one of my dad's best pals, Big Jim McElroy. He was one of the guys who unveiled the monument because his uncle died at the Battle of Jarama, and it's brilliant. So that's the latest monument, and a big kudos to Jazz and Frankie and the rest of the guys for the committee to put the commemoration up for all those for North Lanarkshire that went and fought against Franco and fascism, and it was a tremendous sight. What a day, and just big credit to all the guys that done it. It was really good, and what a turnout it got as well. And the monument, if any of you are ever in Motherwell, find the Duchess of Hamilton Park, and the monument's slap bang in the middle of it, and it's beautiful, stunning. So I was doing it that on Saturday, so all credit to all those involved.
Nice one.
Brilliant. Anybody else? Or are we done?
Just a wee shout out to the new St Lawrence's Celtic Supporters Club here in Drogheda. We're taking members at the minute, so anybody in the Drogheda area want to join the club, it's going to be a travelling club. We'll hook up with the St Margaret's boys that have obviously they're a massive established club here in Ireland, and they're situated just 2 miles out the road for Drogheda. But there isn't an established CSC here in the town, right? So there must be 40 odd bars in Drogheda. Sarsfields is the place to come and watch Celtic games. That's where the St Lawrence's CSC will be for all the televised games. And as I say, it'll be a travelling club. It's €10 membership fee, a £5 a month on top of that, and we're going to have all other fundraisers, different stuff. We're going to have different things on in the pub as well. We're hooked up with the Joxer who owns the pub. He knows all about it. He's welcome us in. So that's going to be a base for the supporters club for now, going forward. So anybody who wants to join that club, we're in the Drogheda area, contact me on Twitter at Harper1888 or email us at homeboys@gmail.com or whatever. But we've got, I think, 16 members already. We've not advertised it or nothing yet. So we'll put an advert in the paper here and let people know. But see, the thing is, there's 2 or 3 Celtic fans in every pub. Let's get them on the same pub, watch the game, get a bit of atmosphere for the games, and just get a bit of crack going, a bit of club going. So anybody, as I say, anybody wants to see about joining that club, get in contact with me.
Dead on.
That's it.
Sounds good.
Good stuff, mate.
So I guess we're done here then, are we?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's been getting back together again, getting the season rolling again.
That was our pre-season friendly.
That was it. a bit rusty.
We'll be alright. We'll get back to the usual.
Prediction for Tuesday, for tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I'll go first. I think 4-0.
I think 6-0 Celtic.
I think I'll take 5-1 Celtic. I think Cliftonville got a goal just for your man Boyce to get a goal. Just for the crack.
Jason?
4-0 Celtic.
Yeah, that's me too. I don't think Cliftonville's stand a chance. I don't think they even expect to give Celtic too much of a game.
I think see if Celtic had went for the jugular in Belfast, they could have scored about 6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the first Homeboys podcast of the season. Somebody sent me a message here. As in the words of a great man, we haven't gone away, so we're back for the season. Looking forward to next week. We'll have another show next Monday.
Aye.
Kenny, try and dial in next week, mate. It's been good to get a blether with you. Actually, Kenny was at the commemoration. I seen him on Saturday, so just seen his name pop up there. So try and get you on next week, mate.
Happy days. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, we can
No. Wait. There was something I was going to talk about quick before we go.
Okay, go.
The Celtic History podcast.
Oh
right.
my God! I can't believe we've not spoke about them.
If
how good are they?
Aye, if you didn't know about them, you must be living under a rock this close season, right? They are easily the Belfast Celtic stuff that Chris done with Marty Flynn was amazing, but these things are just on. If they were getting produced by somebody with tens of thousands of pounds at the back of them for editing and software and a studio and all that, you'd be saying that shows and the production value in that. The stuff is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. The way they've broke it up with the different wee snippets of different things. I say the way Chris. I mean, it's a one-man show. Of course, he has his guests doing all the episodes, but the editing and putting all that stuff in, the amount of work that Chris is putting into this is. I can't tell you how much. I mean, it's unbelievable. So please, if you're getting these, support the guy because he is putting blood, sweat, and tears into this. I mean, we know what we go through. Just try to put a podcast on there, the hassles that's involved, but the stuff Chris does. I mean, I know firsthand because I'm in contact with Chris constantly. It's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work just to put one of them together. So please support them and fling them a few bob. You get the links on hailhailmedia.com. And listen, if you've not listened to them, you're absolutely missing out. I mean, Paul, you done, I think it was the 30s you took, was it? 20s. Brilliant, man. Brilliant. I think I've listened to every one of them twice. Well, sorry, I've only listened to one with Paul Brennan once. I listened to every other one of them twice. And they're just brilliant. I can't help but any Celtic fan I speak to at the minute, are you listening to the History podcast? It doesn't matter if you listen to any other podcasts. If you're not listening to them, you're missing out a massive amount of thing because every single podcast, I'm not caring how much you think you know about Celtic, you'll learn 100 things you never knew.
Aye, absolutely. That's fantastic.
I must tell you about what Chris said about Mr. Larkin. I think you were meant to do another era or something like that. He got you in for the 20s. I think he only gave you a couple of days' notice. He says you would think he'd lived in the 20s. He knew that much. So big kudos, mate. That was some show you put on.
I mean, what happens easier is brilliant because like you think you have a rough idea about this and next thing and you start researching it and you realise you didn't really, you know what I mean? And at first I was thinking because I was going to be the 40s and it was the 20s at the last minute. You're thinking, oh Christ, 20s and that kind of thing. But then you start to think that everybody's heard so much about the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s and all that, so you're going out and finding all the stuff. And it's kind of remarkable that there's millions of mere reasons you end up finding out why this club is fantastic and it's unique. It's more than a football club, so it's hard to say. There's many unrecognised men that made certainly what they are. And this history podcast is definitely bringing them to life,
I want to echo everything you said there, Harper. It's amazing. I was blown away with the best Belfast Celtic one with him and Marty, and this is just beyond all my expectations. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm just loving it. I'm learning so much, and I'm just like you. I've listened to them all. I think I've listened to one in 3 times. I think Paul's one I listened to that 3 times. You can see the one with the 20s, and at the start, I'm learning loads of stuff that I never knew. So I want to find out again. I want to go back over that. But when it gets to the 60s, and 70s, and 80s, I know loads of that stuff. So I maybe know. I hope I find loads of snippets that I didn't know. Because that's all the kind of stuff you were brought up with.
Aye.
But it's just the learning stuff for the 20s, the 30s, and whatever. It's a pleasure to listen to. And hats off to Mr. McGuigan and to all you guys that contributed, like yourself, Paul. And it's just, I think Celtic fans are blessed that they've got all this at their fingertips, and they can just because see one thing I'd like to say. See, during the close season, I get involved with some of the guys for the Celtic Grave Society because my mates in Liverpool are doing a similar thing with Everton. So they're doing loads of digging about, no digging, literally Grave Society. But, they're doing loads of, trying to find out things about loads of Everton players. And they're doing a similar type thing. But it just shows you how professional our guys are, and I'm talking just for the fans and the guys for the Celtic Grave Society, because obviously some of the things that they've pulled off already is nothing short of remarkable. But I got my mate Paul for Liverpool in contact with a few of the guys for the Grave Society, so they had historical documents, official Everton documents with historical references in it. The Celtic Grave Society put them right in a few things, and the official Everton documentation was actually wrong, and the Celtic Grave Society knew everything about it. Certain players that played with Celtic and things like that, they'd said they played with Everton, they come back and says no, they didn't. And so effectively Everton are going to have to rewrite their history because of the guys in the Celtic Grave Society, because they knew everything inside out. And it just shows you what type of support we've got that knows all this kind of stuff.
Oh, definitely.
It's phenomenal, and hats off to them. We know how much we appreciate these guys at the Grave Society, Jim Blythe and whatever, but they're absolutely amazing. And it's nothing short of astounding, the knowledge that these guys have got and the things that they've got to their disposal. And a good friend of mine as well, he's got a dossier every Celtic game that was ever played, scores. I think he's got scorers. I don't think he's got full teams, but he's got a dossier every game that we've played, and I know you can get that in the Celtic Wiki. But it's just amazing what you Celtic fans can get a hold of these days. And there can't be another club like this that's got this wealth of information available to you that's just done through fans, love of the club, and it's not like official paid historians.
No, but we've always said that from the start, I suppose, like, of any of these Celtic podcasts. It's quite evident that Celtic fans love to communicate with each other, and they love to contact other Celtic fans. I mean, look at this show, look at the network. I mean, it's just people contacting each other and communicating and sharing stories and sharing experiences and learning off each other. And that's I don't see any other football fan doing that. I just don't.
I think what Celtic fans like, Joe, in the main is to be reminded of what a great club it actually is.
Yeah.
You see it, how many times you've been in companies and that where you start talking about you a couple of times and that kind of, and the next thing everybody's beaming with pride, you know what I mean, about certain stories and players for the past and all that kind of thing. And the more stories you hear, the more proud you are to be part of it, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a never-ending sort of fantasy storybook. It's brilliant.
See these history podcasts, right? To bring it back to that a wee bit, I find myself when I'm listening to them, I actually keep checking how much long's left because I'm not wanting it to finish. Do you know what I mean? That is how good they are. And as much as I've loved the history sort of ones, I can't wait for the 80s and 90s just to relive the stuff from my youth. Do you know what I mean? Because I love hearing about all that stuff. My favourite Celtic book's Happy Birthday of Celtic, about the centenary year. Because I love going back to that kind of stuff that I loved, like, you know. And I can't wait to go through the McCann, the takeover and all. I mean, they're going to just be gold. You know what I mean? Podcast gold. I mean, they all are, but I can't wait to get this back to the stuff that is recent history, because it's so important. And you lived through it, like, do you know what I mean? But you were maybe a wee bit younger and you'll have forgotten a lot of stuff, and I can't wait for all that to come up. I just absolutely loving this series, like, and hats off to Chris. I mean, he's taking podcasting to a completely different level that certainly I couldn't get anywhere close to it. And I don't know, hats off to him. Like, I don't even know where he can go for this. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know how he can top this. Like,
you have to just drop the mic and leave the stage, really. That's it. Like Sinatra or something. Right?
Definitely.
I mean, what's it going to feel like?
He's got one major special guest coming up. One of the later ones, isn't he?
Like, what? He's got to feel like a bit of a chump going back. Not a chump going back to talk to the two chumps, Jamie and Jerry. You know what I mean? Sorry, boys, if you're listening.
He's not getting Jamie to do the naughties.
I don't know. But no, that was. I just forgot about that, and I just wanted to make sure people get in there, get them downloaded, and give them a wee donation. Even if it's only.
If you're listening to 10 shows, just throw them a tenner.
Throw them a tenner, aye. That's what I did.
Pound a show. I mean, Hail Media charges for nothing.
Aye.
You know, and for this, the money's going to charity. None of it's going to Chris. It's all going to charity. So, as I say, if you listen to 10, chuck a tenner in. Come on.
See what I was just looking at there, just when we were sorting out the shows there at the start, and I think it says Hail Media has 500, it was either 527 or 547 episodes there that you're getting for nothing, for free, flung at you. And we're not wanting anything ever. We have wee fundraisers and we give out prizes and that, right? But this is something else. I really can't put into words the amount of hours that goes into this stuff that Chris is doing, and the research the boys are doing, and the editing. It's just fling them a few bob, because we would love to be able to go to the 10 charities at the end and say there's $1,000 each. That's the kind of target I'd be looking for, 10 grand. And I don't think, with the amount of downloads and the way our fans are, I don't think that should be out of reach, personally.
No, I agree. So remind us in the next podcast, I forgot to tell you, but the next podcast, remind me to talk about my wee trip to Seville for my 10-year anniversary. A couple of wee good stories for that.
Right.
So you and Kieran had a wee romantic trip up the coast.
Me and Kieran, we went up to Seville, into the frying pan. And by God, it's a bloody frying pan, I'll tell you that. But that's for next week.
Alright, no bother. So we all done here?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in to the newest, the 2013-2014 season opener for the HomeBhoys live phone-in show. I'm heading to my bed. It's goodbye from me, Joe McKenna, and goodbye from Jason.
See you later, troops.
The rusted prince, Harper.
Hail.
And one and only Mr. Paul Argan.
Sayonara.
We're out of here. Take it easy. Enjoy the game tomorrow if you're going to it. And we'll see you all next week.
Hail.
Hail. Good luck.
Cheers.
From the cradle to the grave, life is tough. From the beginning to the end, the road is rough. But there's something you should always keep in mind. Take comfort in what comforts you can find. Oh, a life without passion I couldn't bear. Glasgow Celtic's my passion, I declare. And for this I make no apology, for it's always been Celtic with me. With some it's the horses, I've no doubt. With others it's the whiskey and the stout. With some it's every pretty girl they see. Well, it's always been Celtic with me. Others people now say that I'm insane, just because I've never missed a game. start. You got into my heart to see. Was it for better or worse? Was it a blessing or a curse? It's all the same to me. And when I shuffle up this mortal coil, and my body it is planted in the soil, well, don't you play a dirge over me. Give me a Celtic song, a Celtic symphony. And I'll look down each Saturday from above, from heaven on the paradise I love. And with St. Patrick I will sing a verse or three.